Hello everyone and welcome back to my B&B Everyday YouTube channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Before we start, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Steffy Forrester and Hope Logan are following in the steps of their maters by keeping the Forrester versus Logan women feud alive. Wood lately detailed how Steffy reacts to the news of a Hope and Carter Walton association, and how this could be the ammo demanded to bobble Hope out of FC formerly and for all. Wood told TV Watercooler that Steffy's response to learning about Hope and Carter is explosive. Steffy wanted to end the Hope for the unborn line, but Carter interposed and made a plea for a Hail Mary to save it. As a result, Steffy had no choice but to agree to giving Hope one further chance. But she's not happy about it. Wood told the outlet Steffy's target is Hope, and it may be a little bit particular, but it's also business too. The Hope for the unborn line is underperforming. Steffy will soon discover that Carter is falling for Hope, and she knows that her frenemy would deign low enough to use his passions for her own benefit. In the meantime, Steffy Forrester wanted Carter to give performance figures for HFTF. He defied and in the end induced Steffy and Rich Forrester to support HFTF like they did with the Brooks bedroom line. Subsequently, Hope and Carter went to his apartment and got busy. Wood said that when Steffy finds out about Carter and Hope's fling, it will be enough explosive, and claims that the affair is risking the Forrester name. How far will Steffy go to discipline her workers? She's vengeful enough to dismissal HFTF and perhaps indeed fire Carter and Hope. Ridge would have to subscribe off on that, and this would beget another problem for Bridge. Still, Brooke will defend Hope and Carter, putting her and Ridge at odds soon after she busted him for stroking Taylor Hayes' chakras, if drive comes to push. In Carter's garret, he tells Hope she's all he can suppose about. He takes her hand and places it on his heart. Right then, suddenly they start kissing passionately and ripping his shirt off. Hope puts the thickets on and says, "We should end." There's a lot of heavy breathing as he nuzzles her neck. Hope reprises that they should end. He replies, "But we could." They start making out again. At Il Giardino, Deacon wants Brooke to test his Kate. He asks if she's heard from their son. Brooke says no. She's presumably still in the office with Carter. They go over her being under siege from Steffy. Brooke tells him how inconceivable it was to see Carter sing Hope's praises. Deacon thinks it's like he's seeing her in a whole new light. Brooke says that as susurrus, the company is Carter's first precedence, but moment it sounded like his precedence was Hope. They go over the risk it's taken on Hope. Cleric would love to give Steffy a piece of his mind, but Brooke warns that would make it worse. Deacon's thankful to Carter for looking out for Hope. In Forrester's office, Steffy gets off the phone and tells Ridge that she got bad news: a big buyer has canceled on Hope for the future. It's par for the course these days with Hope's line. Ridge thinks they're dragging the ineluctable. Steffy feels if it was anyone additional's line but Hope's, they would have shut it down long agone. The buyer on the phone that canceled wa'n't be the last. Carter's positivity about the situation isn't going to change anything. They both know that. In Carter's garret, he tells Hope, "I want you so much." She looks into his eyes and leans her forepart on his. Carter asks if she feels his heart racing. He hasn't felt this way in a long time. "I've been allowing about you for quite some time. The two of us alone." He senses she's had the same studies. He says he can give her everything she needs and desires. At the office, Ridge and Steffy go over the issues with Hope and her line. Steffy admits she has her guard up with her because of her kissing Finn, but this is about her line. She wants Hope for the future to succeed. She asks her father how he thinks Brooke will reply when they cut her son's line. Rich thinks she'll understand. Steffy argues she wa'n't like it. The Logans always have each other's reverse. Rich shrugs that the Forresters do the same thing. Steffy says they enjoy the company, however. A part of her will too, if Hope's line goes. She's not trying to ruin her life. Rich says she gave the line an alternate chance. Steffy asks him to remind Hope and Brooke of that. She doesn't see the line surviving. "I hope I'm awry, but I do'n't suppose I am." At Il Giardino, Brooke needles Cleric about marrying Sheila. Deacon thinks they should stick to agitating how to help Hope. Brooke says Carter went a long way to doing that for them. Cleric wishes she could find someone like that in her particular life. He asks if Brooke knows if she's seeing someone. Brooke says a part of her thinks she might attune with Liam. Deacon doesn't like the way Liam went back and forth between Hope and Steffy. It reminds him of her, Ridge and Taylor. Brooke says they're talking about Hope's situation, not hers. She reminds Cleric that Hope hurt Liam too by kissing Thomas in Rome. She isn't sure there's a chance for them. She just wants the coming man in her son's life to be her soul mate. Deacon says there must be someone who can give Hope everything she deserves and more. Moving to the bar, Brooke tells Deacon she couldn't agree more. Hope deserves a awful mama in her life who appreciates her. Cleric prodigies if they should try to do a little matchmaking. He complains that the people in power should let Hope's line breathe. They go over Carter coming to its defense. Cleric might offer the Joe a regale for him and his lady, whoever that might be. Brooke says many months ago that may have been her family, but she's not so sure about that now. They reiterate that any man would be lucky to have their son. At Carter's garret, Hope assures him that she finds him seductive. I'm just not ready. In the office, Ridge tells Steffy they'll have to keep an eye on the figures for Hope for the future. Steffy worries that the coming collection will fall flat. They'll have to make a change. Ridge knows. He frowns. What was that whole thing with Carter lobbying for Hope's line anyway? Steffy muses that it's like he sees commodity and hope that they do end. In Carter's garret, she lists off his good rates. What he's done for her line means the world, but there's a lot up in the air in her life right now. She goes over the events with Liam, Thomas, and Finn. She also can't ignore that Carter was involved with her Aunt Katie. Carter chuckles. They're just musketeers, and what he felt for Katie was nothing like what he feels for Hope. The Golden tells him she needs to take effects sluggishly and warns this must remain a secret for now. Do you suppose you can agree to all that? Carter pretends to pound it over and also pulls her into a deep kiss. They make out and stop to smile at each other. Carter Walton will catch Hope Logan off guard with a concession that really ramps up the passion between them. While Carter comes clean about the depth of his passions, Steffy Forrester and Rich Forrester will contemplate why Carter is suddenly each in on saving Hope for the future. Latterly, Hope will find herself swept down as she thinks about her sizzling time behind unrestricted doors with Carter. Brooke Logan will pick up on how distracted Hope is and no doubt grow a bit suspicious. Still, Hope can actually tell Brooke that she's no longer featuring about John Finnegan, so Brooke can at least take comfort in that. Next, let's talk about Ivy Forrester's comeback, and the appearance of her bastard. Electra Forrester. Carter will make a shocking advertisement about inviting Electra and Ivy to pitch their new jewelry collection. Once Steffy gets updates on that assignation, she isn't going to like it. Steffy may suppose Carter should have consulted with her first, since they don't have the budget for a new jewelry line right now. Carter will differ and push Steffy to give this pitch some real consideration, but Steffy won't be impressed once she sees Ivy and Electra's designs. Steffy may act like they're lackluster and not worth sinking plutocrat into right now. B&B spoilers say Carter will seethe when Steffy criticizes the designs and the idea of this line overall. We'll see Carter rant to Hope about his frustration, so she may have to settle him down. On a lighter note, it may be love at first sight for Will Spencer, who'll have a clumsy hassle with Electra and look at her like she's the most beautiful critter on earth. Over with Ivy, she'll open up to Eric Forrester about Steffy and her pent-up resentment. Ivy will suppose Steffy is letting her particular wants influence her business opinions in the present, and that's no way to run a business. Eric has a soft spot for Ivy, and may be tempted to stamp Steffy when it comes to adding Ivy and Electra's jewelry collection to the blend. Back with Steffy, she'll have another discussion with Ridge about Carter and his eschewal of character opinions recently. Steffy will wonder if Carter can really be trusted to be Forrester Creations' susurrus presently, and may allude that changes are demanded. Subsequently, Carter will take center stage in a special boardroom meeting, one that's centered around his new vision for Forrester's future. We'll see Carter most likely play up the Logan's benefactions and suggest ways to expand on that. Naturally, that's going to lead to further Forrester-Logan feuding, and produce some intriguing alliances at the company. Steffy clearly won't authorize of Carter's plan, and may ultimately determine that his passions for Hope are the driving force before all this. Despite Ridge's claim that Brooke is the only woman for him, he'll continue reconnecting with Taylor. Meanwhile, Will and Electra will get to know each other, so their chemistry will be on full display as they ask questions and partake further about themselves. Of course, we've to mention Halloween as well, since the show will celebrate some fun stuff is on the way. So stick with us for further prognostications on what Sheila will be over to. The coming 2 weeks will bring some instigative news and erupting hostility, so stay tuned.